3 million pages, 180,000 images.
Related to convicted sex offender Jeffery Epstein.
Sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
In January 2025, the US Department of Justice unsealed roughly 3.5 million files related to Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender and financier who died in federal custody in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. Buried in those files were thousands of references to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, revealing how deeply Epstein had embedded himself in the crypto industry during its formative years. To understand Epstein's role in crypto, you have to start at MIT. Over 2 decades, MIT accepted more than $800,000 directly from Epstein. He also facilitated over $7 million in donations from other wealthy individuals. Some of that money flowed through the MIT Media Lab, a tech-focused research institute run at the time by a director named Jeffery Epstein. In 2015, the Bitcoin Foundation, the non-profit that had been paying the core developers responsible for maintaining Bitcoin software, collapsed. Several organizations scrambled to fill the vacuum. MIT moved fast. In an email to Epstein, Ito wrote that he had used Epstein's gift funds to recruit 3 of Bitcoin's core developers, including its chief scientist Gavin Andresen, to the Media Lab's newly launched digital currency initiative. In other words, the lab that served as a foundational pillar of Bitcoin's early development was partially bankrolled by a convicted sex offender. Ito resigned from MIT and several other positions in 2019 after his ties to Epstein became public. Epstein was also writing checks to crypto startups. In 2014, a crypto entrepreneur named Brock Pierce approached Epstein about investing in Coinbase. Pierce was a former child actor turned crypto evangelist. He had co-founded the stablecoin giant Tether and was managing partner at what would become Blockchain Capital, one of the industry's most prominent venture firms. At the time, Coinbase was a young crypto exchange raising its Series C round at a valuation of roughly $400 million. Epstein was intrigued. He emailed LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman directly, asking, "Coinbase is closing a C round this week. Should I play? How hard?" In an email to Pierce, Epstein wrote simply, "Take $3 million." That $3 million bet paid off. In 2018, a trust associated with Epstein sold half of his Coinbase equity back to Blockchain Capital for $15 million. Coinbase co-founder Fred Ehrsam was personally aware of the initial investment according to the emails. Today, Coinbase has a market cap of roughly $42 billion. That same year, 2014, Epstein also invested $500,000 in Blockstream, a company building core Bitcoin infrastructure. That investment was made through a fund Epstein co-owned with Jeffery Epstein. Blockstream's co-founders Adam Back and Austin Hill communicated with Epstein directly. Travel booking confirmations in the file show Back and Hill were invited to St. Thomas, the island nearest Epstein's private compound on Little St. James. Both investments came 6 years after Epstein's 2008 conviction in Florida for soliciting prostitution from a minor. Adam Back has since stated that Blockstream has no direct nor indirect financial connection with Jeffrey Epstein or his estate at present. The files paint a picture of something broader than an investor placing bets. Epstein operated as a broker, someone who used crypto as another venue to build influence. Epstein discussed Bitcoin's value and identity with venture capitalist Peter Thiel in a 2014 email exchange. He hosted a meeting at his Manhattan townhouse between Brock Pierce and former Harvard President Larry Summers to discuss Bitcoin. He talked crypto regulation and taxes with former Trump strategist Steve Bannon. Austin Hill even lobbied Epstein and Ito to drop their support for rival projects Ripple and Stellar, warning they were bad for the ecosystem, treating Epstein as someone with real sway over crypto's direction. And then there were the young developers. Jeremy Rubin, a Bitcoin researcher and MIT student, appears more than 700 times in the Epstein files. Introduced to Epstein in 2014 through a former Microsoft executive, Rubin eventually received $75,000 in quarterly payments in 2016. Financial records show 3 separate $25,000 checks sent to Rubin, including to an address in his hometown of Marblehead, Massachusetts. In one exchange, Epstein laid out Rubin's options plainly. He could work for Epstein on salary, start a company with Epstein's investment, or pursue research. Epstein added that he could easily pay Rubin's tuition, or they could do some combination of all of the above. By 2018, Epstein had created a dedicated investment vehicle for Rubin called Deploy Capital, with emails outlining a plan to fund it with $5 million. Rubin has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing. After the files were released, he wrote on X that he was glad the emails are being released and hoped they would bring a better understanding of the nature of corruption in our society. Perhaps the most striking detail in the files is a moment of irony that almost defies belief. In an email to Jeremy Rubin, Epstein wrote, "I am more than happy to fund things, but as I'm high profile, it can't be questionable ethics." A convicted sex offender worrying about the ethics of his crypto investments. Rubin replied that there is a grey area between pump and develop. Epstein responded, "Their deal is to pump the currency. It is dangerous." Meanwhile, Epstein's publicists had their own review of the crypto world's future stars. In a 2010 email, Peggy Siegel described Michael Saylor, who would later lead his company to accumulate around $50 billion in Bitcoin, as a complete creep with no personality, calling him sort of like a zombie on a drug. Saylor never had any documented connection to Epstein's crimes. The email is a reminder of just how small these circles were, how early Epstein was circling the people and companies that would come to define the crypto industry. None of the companies or individuals mentioned in this report have been accused of involvement in Epstein's crimes. Many people appear in the files simply because of business, academic, or social contact. But what the documents make clear is this. During the years when Bitcoin and crypto were finding their footing, Jeffrey Epstein was right there, funding the research, backing the startups, courting the developers, and brokering the introductions. The crypto industry has spent years fighting for legitimacy. These files are a reminder that some of its earliest money came from a man with no moral authority of his own.